Something could happen on this show. You never can tell.
Hello. Welcome to the Rock and Roll Show with Pam and Joe, inspired by the music and the disc jockeys that became the soundtrack of our lives. I'm Pam.
And I'm Joe. This week's show is brought to you by Real Stories Productions, the Dick Biondi Film, and our favorite plumber, Vince Cerrone of VC Plumbing.
I am honored to introduce to you one of our newest sponsors, Vince Cerrone of VC Plumbing. Vince, welcome. We're so honored and thrilled to have you on board.
Thanks,
and
Joe.
You're very welcome. Please tell us why you decided to come on board as a sponsor of the Dick Biondi movie.
Well, I was, in my younger days, I grew up with Dick Biondi like everybody else did. I used to sit and listen to him and listen to his jokes and his humor, and I enjoyed him very much. I always waited to turn the radio on to listen to his voice and all the rock and roll songs.
And how can they learn about VC Plumbing?
You could go to www.vcplumbers.com is our website, and my email is vince@vcplumbers.com.
Give Vince a call. He's your guy. He's a guy you can trust. You want to get connected with Vince. Believe us.
We have got somebody very special tonight, and you are in for a treat tonight. You know, I've been working on the Dick Biondi film it's been over 6 years now, and I got to interview a lot of people and a lot of great interviews and a lot of talent. But by far, the man that you're going to meet is my favorite interview of all.
Oh boy. Thank you so much for that great intro, Pam. It is our pleasure to introduce to you the legendary, iconic singer, songwriter, actor, all around fantastic guy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Tony Orlando. Tony, how are you?
Thank you, Pam. Hey, listen,
Oh.
I want to compliment you both on something. You read those notes on my intro better than anybody could have ever read them before. You got
Really?
exactly what I wanted you to say about me. You said I was all those wonderful things, and no, I'm only kidding. Thank you.
You are.
Thank you for saying all those sweet, wonderful things, both of you. Thank you.
Oh,
It's all
absolutely.
true. Tony, you are a sweetheart. You really are. And I know how much you love Dick Biondi. So I so love that you're in our film and all the good things you said about him. Tell everybody how you met Dick and what he means to you.
It's hard to believe. I'm now 76 years old. I met Dick Biondi when I was 16 years old.
Wow.
Think of that.
Wow.
And here's the part about that amazes me. I remember every second of the day, of the moment I met Dick Biondi. That's 60 years ago.
Wow.
Okay? I remember coming to WLS with a guy named Herb Linsky, who was then the national promotion director for Columbia Epic Records. I was the first pop artist to sign with Epic Records. Prior to that, they never were in the pop music business. They were a subsidiary of the Columbia Records, headed by a guy named Dave Kaperlik. That's the guy before Clive Davis. And Herb Linsky brings me to this station, WLS, with this piece of advanced information. He says, now, first of all, you're going to the most important radio station in America, because this AM radio station, WLS, was a 50,000 watt station, which means that your interview will be heard in Texas. The guy that's going to interview you is without a doubt the hottest, biggest DJ in the country. Two reasons. One, he's bigger than life. He orders pizzas by the minute. The city loves him. And his voice is heard in Texas and every state from Chicago to Texas,
That's right.
and maybe sometimes even in Florida. Even though it's an AM station, it was a 50,000 watt station. Now, here's the pressure. You better do good, Tony Orlando.
Yeah.
Because if this guy goes on your record and says something nice about your record, it's a guaranteed hit. So the first record was a song called Halfway to Paradise. It was written by a great young songwriter just starting out in the business who never had a hit record before. Her name, Carole King. Her husband wrote the lyrics, Jerry Goffin, to this record called Halfway to Paradise. Here comes in this nervous, scared to death, 16-year-old child to this humongous radio station.
Yeah.
The door opens up. I know I'm going to see someone that looks like Abe Lincoln or George Washington, something like that. And out comes this crazy man. And he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, come in here, man. Welcome. You want some pizza? Sit down. I'm thinking to myself, this is the guy that makes or breaks your career? And then the phone calls started coming in. And then he played the record. And he got, God Almighty, he liked me. Because
he loved you.
Yeah, he did. And when he said he liked me, I am not kidding around. Pam, Joe, and Dick will tell you this is true. The light board switch went up. He said to me, right on the air, "Tony Orlando, young man, you got yourself a #1 record here." Sure enough, that record went to #1 in Chicago, in New York, and went top 10 on the national charts. So the very beginning step forward move of my recording career, which is now in its 60th year, started with one disc jockey who became my friend, who then always supported me and was also able to tell me when I didn't have a hit, which was merely just as important as telling me when I did have a hit. That's what made Dick Biondi great. He was no BS. Mm-hmm. Either he liked it or he didn't. If he didn't like it, he's going to tell you. Which made you go back to the drawing board and get better.
Yeah.
So the city of Chicago, the nation, the music business, broadcasting business, this is one of the pioneers. This is Alan Freed. This is Murray the K. This is the great disc jockeys of a time when that music was just beginning. Remember, 1961 was only 6 years after Heartbreak Hotel. Mm-hmm. It was the beginning of the music business as we know it today.
That's right.
Pop music, rock and roll, rhythm and blues, country was all meshing together right there under whose nose? Dick Biondi's nose. Wow. So to be on this broadcast with you and to talk about one of my heroes is easy. So I thank you for this opportunity.
Oh my gosh.
To talk about the great Dick Biondi.
Oh.
Thank you.
Tony, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I mean, Dick had such an incredible impact on your career very early
your
on.
Father had a big impact on my career.
He did. How?
Dennis was, I'll tell you what, why. Whenever I was with Dennis, he used to say to me the following: "Hey, Tony, come here. Let's never shave our mustaches, okay?"
Oh my gosh!
And it became his signature.
Oh my gosh! I love hearing stories like that, and it's funny you bring that up because when, in the 1970s, when I was a little kid, I remember your variety show.
Right. Yeah.
And I remember watching it and watching you, loving the show, of course. And then I go, wow, that guy But he has a mustache, just like Dad. I mean, is he? Wait, he's not the.
Yeah, I got news for you.
That's not the same guy, is it? Yeah, no. I mean, but I mean,
you were born with a mustache. How old were you in 1970? Let me see. 1974. How old were you, Joey?
Because your variety show was 74 to 77, around there.
73 to 77.
So I probably remember 76, 77, and watching your show and seeing the.
How old were you then, you know?
If in 77, I would have been 5.
And you were watching television at
Oh yeah.
at 8 o'clock at night?
Yes, because I was with my parents, and they loved, both my mom and dad loved your show, loved TV, and they loved music.
Thank you.
And they were just, I remember watching your show with them, and the mustache, and I said, like that. And it's pretty amazing, because my dad didn't have a mustache until probably the early 70s is when he started to grow it.
Around the same time as I did, yeah.
Yeah, and
I know what caused me to grow mine. I don't know what caused Dennis to grow his, Pam. But mine, I grew because of Mark Spitz. Now, Mark Spitz, before you were born, won 8 Olympic titles as a swimmer.
Remember that.
But then the guy that really, really made me get this mustache was George Harrison and Paul McCartney on the Sgt. Pepper's album.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when I grew the mustache.
Okay.
There was like the Walrus, John Lennon.
Yeah, John went down. Paul was like this.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Well, it suits you.
It's the only thing I could steal from Paul. I can't steal his music, and I can't steal his talent, but I sure could steal his mustache.
And it worked for you.
Oh my God, yes. And it became, one of your trademarks, and became one of my dad's trademarks. And I mean, really, there was only a few times that I can remember him actually shaving it off, and for a role in a movie or something like that. But he had it for a long. I watched a movie
with your dad last night before last, on MLB. It was Little Big League.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yes, I remember that.
Leaguer, right, something like that, about the little guy who becomes the manager of the team. And he was the former manager, and he was great. I mean,
thank you.
Your father was a good friend of a friend of mine that I started out in the business, named Tom Dreesen.
Oh, Tom!
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Tom's first job, I get a call from Freddie Prinz. I don't know if you remember Freddie Prinz.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And Freddie called me one day and he said, "Hey, you gotta do me a favor, man. You gotta use my buddy Tom Dreesen in your show. You're opening up in Lake Tahoe at Harrah's." And I said, "Is he funny?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, if you want to go see him." I said, "No, I'm asking you, is he funny?" And Freddie went, "He's hysterical." I said, "Tell him he opens on the 4th.
Wow.
And then he opened for me and stayed with me for a whole, couple of years as my opening act. And then he left me in the dust and went to open for Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Tom's in the film. Tom's in the Dick Biondi film.
Tom is interviewed for our film. Yeah, Tom is in it.
Oh, well, will you please send Tom my love?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
we're going to have him on the show, I think.
My wife, as a matter of fact, who was a fan of the show before I even met her, she remembers every one of his jokes, especially the one about the shoes where you could see his reflection or something. I forgot. It was a story about a priest or a nun or something. Anyway, it was a Tom Dreesen, and she can still quote Tom Dreesen jokes to this day.
Okay. Oh, that's great.
He is a funny man.
He's a very funny guy.
And definitely. A good friend, by the way, Pam, of Dennis, of Joey's dad.
Yes, wow. He was. They were very good, very, very good friends. And I remember meeting Tom over the years. The first time I met Tom, he used to have this, it was called Day for Darlene.
That was it. I was on the bus with your dad and him. I came to Chicago to do that.
You know what?
You were on the bus too.
I was there too, and we probably
I was
met
with you. I
and
was
didn't
with
even
you.
realize it. In Chicago? Were you in
Yeah.
Chicago? Yeah,
Yeah.
we probably met.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
was with my
And
dad all the
Darlene,
time for
I
those.
sat right next to your dad and to some snot-nosed kid that was sitting behind me. I think it was you, Terry.
That was me.
Oh, how cute.
Isn't that
Hey,
something?
Pam,
Oh
you're
my
with,
God.
you're with
Oh, that's
one
beautiful.
I
great
was
guy.
there all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pam, do
Oh
you
my
remember
God.
that at all, Day for Darlene?
No, I'm not. I'm sorry.
Oh
Darlene
my gosh.
was Tom's sister, Tom Dreesen's sister,
Yeah.
Okay.
and had some health issues. And
Mhm.
Tom, like a good brother, went out and raised money for charity and her.
He does a lot of that.
Yeah. And
You know.
he and I sat with your dad on that bus the whole time.
Unreal. I was probably right next to him or right across from him, right next to you.
Yeah.
And that
Remember
is
the
just,
buses,
oh
right?
my,
You remember
oh
the bus?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Was Dick
Absolutely.
Biondi on that bus
Absolutely.
by any chance?
I don't think he was. I
No.
could be wrong, but I don't recall Dick being on that. But I remember, oh my gosh.
Small
And it
world.
seems like yesterday that it was.
The last
my
time, Pam, I spoke to Dick Biondi. There's a friend of mine living in Chicago and his family. They're called the Marino family. I don't know if you guys know that.
Mm-mm.
But they are close to Dick and to myself for many, many years. And it was for one of Dick's birthdays or anniversaries. How old is Dick now? 194?
Something like that. So he's about, I think he's 87.
And I was there when I was 16, so he had to be in his early 20s. So I'm thinking he's like 80 something.
He's 87.
Okay, so all right, so I was close, right? So I remember the last time, this shows you Dick Biondi. So I get on the air with him and he says, I'm gonna play one of my favorite Tony Orlando songs. And I'm thinking, Half of the Paradise, Bless You, Gypsy Rose, no, can't be. Tie Yellow Ribbon. Is it Tie Yellow Ribbon, Dick? No. Knock 3 times, Dick? No. He Don't Love You Like I Love You? No. Strawberry Patch? No. Candida? No. Every #1 record I have. I said, what are you talking about? It's a song called I'll Be There. It never made the charts.
Oh,
Wow.
I love that
I
song.
said, wait a minute.
I got goosebumps.
You're
Wow.
playing a song that only me and my mother bought, and you're saying it's your favorite? That tells me that Dick Biondi was looking at my career to even the B-sides, to even the sides that didn't make it,
That's
to make
right.
sure I was in good hands. What does he do? He brings up a record that Bobby Darin played piano on, and Bobby Darin wrote the song, I'll Be There.
That's right.
Sure enough, Dick, like Dick Biondi always, has all that information. How he got it, I don't know. How he knew Bobby played piano, I don't know. All I know is that this was the most complete radio disc jockey, maybe in radio history.
I believe it.
Because he could be a personality, but he was also a news anchor. He investigated that story.
Okay.
He looked
Yeah.
into the background of that story. It
Yeah.
wasn't just about, you got a #1 record, oh great, here's your fan. No, he wanted to know when I first sang for my mother. He wanted to know what the first gig I ever had. And then on top of it, as 30 years go by, he remembers.
Yes.
Yeah.
His amazing memory. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Pretty
Yeah,
incredible.
you go, Biondi, I can't remember last week. And you're talking about
Oh,
something I said to you 35 years ago?
and look at all the people he knows and all the things he
Yeah.
remembers about people, the little things that really matter. That's the kind of guy Biondi is.
Pam, you know
Exactly.
something? Only God is responsible for more stars than Dick Biondi.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
You're right.
Because if it wasn't for Dick Biondi,
Yeah.
there would not be a whole lot of famous singers.
Yeah,
Because he made them all famous.
he did.
You know, in the States, in the States, there was another one up in Detroit, not Detroit, in Windsor, Canada, CKLW, that was also a 50-watt station that had that same power. But
Mhm.
in the United States of America, that man controlled the entire Midwest and the entire South. His voice was the voice in the record business. So what you had Dick Clark on television, right?
Yeah,
You had Murray the K in New York and Alan Freed in New York.
yeah.
You had Dick Biondi in Chicago and the South and the Midwest. He owned the center of that country.
Yes.
Without
And
that,
up in Canada too.
Yeah.
and up in Canada too, and without
Yeah.
that,
Mm-hmm.
you can't have a hit.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't have a hit without him. Remember, there was no internet, there was no American Idol, there was no other formats out there than radio.
That's right.
AM radio, and only 3 networks, no cable.
Yeah, it's true.
That's the kind of power and responsibility that man had to the future of so many people, like a young Tony Orlando.
Yeah.
That's
And I will
amazing.
always be thankful, be grateful to knowing him. And I'm grateful to you and Joey, Pam, both of you,
Wow.
for continuing his legacy and to respecting what he brought to the record business and to the radio of Chicago and to the people of Chicago. And I tell you right now, when I close this interview with you and I close down this little computer I have to talk to you with, the first thing I'm going to do is order a Dick Biondi pizza.
That sounds good. That's
On top of a pizza.
Oh, that's it. That's it. Yep.
Oh my God,
Oh my God, you just closed the show. I mean, no, we had a few more minutes. Joe wants to ask you something.
Oh, well, yes. I mean, we talked about you and I, Tony. We talked about your Broadway musical. I wanted to ask you about your Broadway musical, Rooftop Dreams. Tell us a little more about that.
Well, you know, a friend of mine who is very, very wealthy, he's been a friend of mine for 35 years, and I mean very wealthy, came to me and said, I want to put up the beginnings of your financial, the beginnings of doing a Broadway show about your life. A musical. And I said, his name is Bob Book, and his son, Doug Book, by the way, is the president of JSSI in Chicago. But Bob had this belief in me that I didn't even have, to be honest with you.
Wow.
And he said, Tony, I know your life. I know your life. I know your dreams started on a rooftop in New York with a doo-wop group. Yeah. I know your sister had cerebral palsy and was mentally retarded. And you and your mother raised her. She was the spark to your life and to your career and your first audience. I know that you started out with Carole King and Jerry Goffin and Barry Mann and Cynthia Wilde, legendary rock and roll Hall of Fame writers. Don Kirshner was your manager, and Bobby Darin was also. And you were 16 years old. And there you were. And then you found yourself out of not having any more hits after the first 2 because the Beatles came to town, and so did England, and the whole England thing happened. And you had to go to work. You got married at 19 years old, and then you become a general manager and vice president of CBS Music for Clive Davis. Wow. And then you go out and you top that by finding a young singer-songwriter, getting him signed to his first label, Barry Manilow. And then you create a group called Dawn, and you go in the studio and you cut Candida, and you take that to a mountaintop, and you end up being the first multiracial group to ever have a primetime television show.
That's big.
That's Jackie Robinson style.
Yeah.
You know, the first, and by the way, the last.
Oh,
There was
wow,
never
really?
before, and there's never been one since.
Yeah.
And then
Incredible.
you go on and you raise millions of dollars on behalf of veterans because of Tie a Yellow Ribbon
Mm-hmm.
and what it meant to veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a breakdown because you lost your friend Freddie Prinz
Mm.
in a terrible suicide. And he dies in your arms.
Oh,
along
my
with his
God,
wife,
really?
Mom, and you're at the hospital, and it's the first time you ever knew of anyone dying, ever. And that same year, you lose that precious sister of yours. She passes away. And then you lose your television show. It gets canceled. And then you crash. And then as the play goes on, it tells us that my mother came back and said, "You ain't quitting. Get up. Get up and fight. Keep your rooftop dream alive." And what do? You go and you star on Broadway. You play the life story of P.T. Barnum.
Oh, God, I love it.
Oh, God.
You end up walking the tightrope just to prove to everybody that you're not on drugs and that you're not crazy and that it takes all complete focus to be able to make it. It's an inspiring story, Tony. We got to do it. And I said, "But you're talking about a musical. You're talking about, you got the Four Seasons story out there, the Jersey Boys. You got Cher's story out there. You got Donna Summer's story out there. You got the Temptations story. One more?" He goes, "There's only one Tony."
That's right.
That's right.
So I say, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll write a synopsis. If it has some punch and power, I'll write some music, because I don't want this show to be just my hits.
Mm-hmm.
I want it also to be a traditional Broadway show where there's traditional, original music. So I wrote 14 songs, along with all the hits. The story about me, the girls, Freddie, my childhood, starting when I was 10,
Wow.
come back in Barnum at 33 years old. I'm back on my feet, healthy, and the story continues on from there. So it turned out to be a beautiful, challenging experience, and then the pandemic hits. And the pandemic has slowed everything down because Broadway now is closed.
Sure.
Closed not until 2021, which means that not till 2022 will a theater be even available to me.
Mm-hmm.
So everything got backed up.
Is it done? Do you have it all together?
We have our producers, we have our money, we have our writer, we have our staging, we have our story, and we'll have a script. And hopefully the day will come when you two and Dick can come and sit with me in Broadway and watch this great, tremendous gift
Oh, my God.
I've been getting.
I would love that.
It was a
man.
great pop book.
It's a
Wow,
fabulous story, Tony. Honest to God.
Thank you, Tony. That's
really is something. That's the kind of story everybody would appreciate, you know?
Yes.
Like, whew, powerful. Just you telling the story is so powerful.
Oh, my gosh.
But you are a storyteller. You really are. That's why I really enjoyed
Thank you for
interviewing.
that. I enjoy storytelling. I could stay on here with you for days. I know you don't have days, but
yeah. In fact, we're gonna have to close this up.
Oh, man, wish we could
Darn,
talk some
we
more
could
with
talk
you.
forever with you.
Yes.
Thank you to your film, and to the great Dick Biondi, and to you, Pam, and to you, Joey. I sincerely, I'm very grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we're sincerely grateful for having you on and joining us and sharing your stories and your legacy. And I know we talked a few times on the phone, but to actually see you and meet you like this and share stories of my dad really means a lot. Thank you.
And you still look cute with that mustache.
You're a tribute to your dad.
Wow. I thank you, man. I can't tell you how much that means.
I have two like you. You know, so many times you get people in our business, Pam, they make it and the children don't do very well. I've been very blessed. Both of my children have upstanding. They've kept their reputations. They haven't been hurt by my career. All they've done is lift me up. All they've done is be proud of me. They're always like my daughter's sitting right here, my Jenny, and she's, you know, she does all of my social media and she talks about me like she would talk about the Jonas Brothers. I mean, it's the same thing. I just happen to be her dad.
That's awesome.
I'm very blessed and very lucky to have children like that. And so is Dennis, by the way.
Oh,
And I'm sure you got a couple too, right,
Thank you.
Pam?
I have one daughter and 5 grandsons, and they're all
Thank you.
fabulous. I'm so lucky to have them.
You're a grandma?
Yeah, I'm going to be a great grandma.
I never looked like you when I was growing up.
You know what? I met Dick when I was 13 years old, Tony, in 1960. That tells you how old I am.
Same time. It was 1961 for me. Wow.
Well, 61. Actually, it was 61. Same year.
Same year.
Yeah.
In fact, you may have been in the office that day.
No, I wasn't.
But that certainly is when I met Dick too. Same time.
I met him in August of 61. How about you?
Does that say anything about Dick Biondi?
Oh.
You have kept this friendship with him for 60
I
years.
love that man. That's why I'm making this film about him, because he touched me so much. He really changed my life as a young teenager. I was very shy. I was very awkward and closed, and he just opened me up, and I started a fan club for him, and he made me feel so special. I never felt so special as around Dick. It was just unbelievable. And I never forgot that.
Isn't it ironic how right he was?
How right he was?
Mm-hmm.
About
Because
what?
that little girl that he met 60 years ago was so moved by his warmth and kindness to you. Here you are making a movie about him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Pretty glorious story. Your story with him alone in this movie should be upfront and personal.
It is.
That's pretty amazing. That you know, I'm fortunate enough to have some, we call them Tony's Troopers, fans, you know, that have been with me since they're 7 years old.
Oh, God.
7 and
That's
8 years
amazing.
That
old.
is incredible.
That's incredible.
And we still talk, and we still do Zoom chats with them. And
That's
it's a
beautiful.
special thing. Mm-hmm.
Very special. Really is. We're going to run out of time. I'm sorry, Tony. I would love to talk more. Don't run away, though. We're going to do a little thing. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe's going to sign off.
Okay. Signing off, everybody. DickBiondiFilm.com. Please like our Facebook page, our Facebook group, and check out our Facebook fundraising page as well. Tony, thanks again, buddy. Sending our love right back. Thank you.
Thanks,
Talk soon, my
everybody.
friend.